Hey guys, Annika here, back with another review of Insecure. As you all may know, the newest episode premiered yesterday, episode 3 of season 4, Lowkey Thankful. This episode was set around Thanksgiving, so we are in the month of November and the block party is 2 months away. I feel like this block party might be taking place in February, because in December, January. I think it might be either the end of January or February 14th. Who knows? We don't know. But I have my list with me, my handy dandy notebook, all the notes I took during this episode. Before I get into the review, I just want to say thank you so much for making this episode actually 30 minutes. Because we all know last week's episode, like it was 15 minutes long. I think this episode was about 28 minutes. So thank you, Issa, for giving us a 28-minute episode. It felt really, really good. And this is a decent, solid episode so far. I would say this is my favorite episode of this season thus far. We still have, I think, 7 episodes to go. I think we're getting 10 episodes in this season. So let's jump right into my review. And number 1 on my sheet right here is Condola and Lawrence. So in this episode, we get to see them two together. You know, we're first introduced to Condola in season 3. In this season 4, her and Issa are working together. And this is the first time we get to see Condola and Lawrence being a couple, which I'm a little hesitant to call them a couple after we learn in this episode. Lawrence spends the night at well, no, I think Condola's at his house. Yeah, I think Condola spends the night at his house because she mentions having to go home because her sink needs to be fixed. So yeah, Condola spends the night at Lawrence's place and they wake up together, and Condola mentions to Lawrence that she's having a Friendsgiving at her place, and Lawrence isn't really invited. He kind of invites himself. So I think that was our first kind of clue that they're not as serious as Lawrence is portraying it to be. This is still a very casual thing, and we're reminded that they've only been dating for about maybe a month or so. So it opens up with those two in bed. A really cute, I think, intro to just see them kind of be normal, because whenever we see Condola on screen, she's always kind of like this, I feel like, mythical creature that Issa just looks up to. And it was nice to kind of see her just being normal. She's still fabulous. She's still her fabulous self. But it's nice to see her not through the lens of Issa, where we know that Issa's idolizing her. And just to kind of see her in a natural state with the guy that she's talking to. So we're going to move on. Before I move on, we noticed that, well, something I noticed was that Lawrence was praising Condola for really being on top of her game, and how her being so motivated and ambitious in her career is kind of influencing him to also be on top of his shit as well, which I thought was really cool. My personal opinion, I think your partner, whoever you're dealing with, boyfriend or girlfriend, should motivate you to be the best self, the best version of yourself. So I think that's really cool. But I thought that Condola was like a little dismissive of him, because she was like, oh, you're perfect. And I don't know, maybe I'm nitpicking here, or it's really good writing that when someone's giving you accolades and you kind of just be like, oh, but you don't have to change. It's like, that to me is my first clue that this may not be as serious as Lawrence thinks it is. And also, her not inviting him to their Friendsgiving and him inviting himself is really a major key that this isn't as serious. So we move on and we see Lawrence bumps into Issa at the cafe. This is a cafe that I think Issa and Condola frequent a lot together to get business done. Issa and Lawrence have really, really good chemistry. They just start going back and forth, some very friendly banter. And it just shows us that the chemistry between these two is really strong. And it's a sweet scene. And then you have Condola come in and is just like, oh, you're reminded that Lawrence is dating Condola. It's like whenever Lawrence and Issa are in a scene together and they have really witty banter, it's just like, oh, you guys be perfect together. You should be together. And then you're reminded that they're not. So it's a whole awkward scene. Lawrence and Condola, I guess, are having lunch together. Issa gets her shit and she dips out because she don't want to see her man of 5 years having lunch with her mentor or her business partner. And this is the first time we get to see Issa really look onto the relationship with actual, I don't want to say disgust. I don't think she was disgusted by seeing them together. I think this is our first time where we get to see it. Remember my last video where I'm like, I really don't think it's hit Issa that Lawrence is dating Condola. In that cafe scene, we get to see that. We get to see that she's really taking it in and she's starting to feel some type of way. I thought she played it cool and she dipped out of there, but it was an awkward scene. We're gonna move on to the, no. Before I move on, because I'm looking at my list. Before I move on, I want to talk about the concept of time. So in this episode, a bunch of the characters reference it's only been a year or a year and a half for monumental things in her life. Condola's been divorced, I think, for a year and a half. Issa and Lawrence have been broken up for probably a year or so. This is the first time we really, I think, see this show talk about time. So if Issa and Lawrence have only been broken up for a year and they dated for 5 years, I'm gonna just come out and say it. I think they should have tried to work on their relationship, because 5 years and being broken up for 1 year and Issa making one mistake as in cheating out of a 5-year relationship, I just don't think, it's not adding up to me. I think they could definitely have been together. So we move on, sorry for that tangent. We move on to Issa and Molly in the market together. And as we all know, at some point in time during this season, Issa and Molly will not be friends, or that they're gonna have a falling out. I found that the market scene was very uncomfortable for me to watch, because Issa and Molly's, now their scenes are coming off as like frenemies. Like, they just don't seem like they're friends, or like they're not as close as they used to be. So in this market scene, Issa brings up the fact that she ran into Lawrence and Condola at the cafe. Molly asks her how she feels about that. She's like, I feel fine. And we know she's lying. So I'm more interested in, why is Issa lying to Molly about how she feels, and vice versa, because Molly is also lying to Issa about how she feels with Asian Bae. They're not telling each other anything. Instead, they're taking little sharp like jabs at each other. Like, Molly brings up the fact that Issa was fucking for contraband and like alcohol, and then Issa brings up the fact that she was just fucking a married man last season. It just becomes too much. It just feels so catty. Like, watching their scenes together, it feels so catty. It's full of so much tension. I literally cannot take it. It's just too much. So that scene ends with Issa and Molly admitting to each other that they need to talk, and there's something in the air that they should probably have like a little powwow and just say what they have to say. And the goal is that they're going to talk on Thanksgiving when Issa comes over to pick up a piece of pie from Molly's place. But that never happens. That never happens. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I feel like Issa is attacking Molly a lot in this season, and I think I might be in like the unpopular opinion group here. I know in the past seasons that Molly has been unbearable for some folks to watch, but I really think she's trying this season, and she's getting her ass handed to her on social media, specifically Twitter, and by the fans. Like, everyone is just bashing Molly, and I don't think it adds up. Like I said, I know when this show first started, like, Molly was like a handful, but I really think she's had actual growth, and we're not, like, no one's really appreciating that. Molly asks Issa whether or not she should invite Asian Bae Andrew. Should I stop calling him Asian Bae? Like, is that bad? Is that racist? His name is Andrew, but you know, like, on social media is Asian Bae. Anyway, Molly asks Andrew. Molly asks Issa. Molly asks Issa if she should invite Andrew to her folks' place for Thanksgiving. Issa rebuttals with like you're gonna scare him away. Very like nasty comment. I thought it was completely out of left field. And we see it affects Molly. We see that Molly is frustrated with this. And I thought Issa's comment was unnecessary. I'm keeping it a buck. However, personally, if I've only been dating someone for a month, I'm not going to invite you to meet my family. That's just me. I move really, really slow. Like, you're not even my boyfriend. If we're just talking, it's only been a month, you're not my boyfriend. You're someone I'm just talking to. But that's just how Annika runs her life. But I I do think inviting him to see the family is a little early, but I think it's also, you feel how you feel. If you think this is appropriate, if you think this is moving too fast for you, do what you want to do. I think Issa could have actually gave her some advice instead of like just dismissing the comment. So, notebook time. What do you guys think about their friendship? Like, do you think, I mean, I hate to keep bringing it up and I hate to belabor this, but like, why do you think they're going to stop talking? Like, what's going to lead them to that? Because so far, I feel like this relationship can be salvaged if they just like had a truth moment and spoke to each other about how they felt versus all this like kitty back and forth stuff. Like, I really don't think this friendship has to end. All it takes is some good old-fashioned communication. So we're going to fast forward to Condola's Friendsgiving. So, okay, before I even talk about Condola's friends, I want to talk about Condola's house. Condola's house is really nice. I'm going to argue that Condola and Lawrence are not even in the same tax bracket because Condola's house looks really fucking nice. And Lawrence's apartment is nice too, don't get me wrong. Like, he's doing good for himself, but like Condola's house looks nicer. And we get a scene kind of with Lawrence and Chad, and they're in the car talking, and I really think Lawrence, once he got his shit together, he got a job and he was done being like a bum or like a homosexual, whatever. Like, once he was done with that part, that phase in his life, he did get his shit together. And I think he just assumed, like, now that my shit's together, I'm gonna date other bitches with their, oh my God, I'm sorry. Not other bitches, but like, I'm gonna date other girls that have their stuff together and we're gonna live happy ever after. And he finds Condola, and Condola has her stuff together, like, together. And I think Lawrence wants a family. I think Lawrence wants to get married, and he just kind of assumed that because of the person that Condola is, that she would want that too. Without taking into account that this is a woman that is recently divorced. She's a divorcee, and she's been divorced for about a year and a half now. I've never been divorced, never been married yet, but I'm willing to bet that if I just got divorced, the last thing I want to do is get married again, or the last thing I want to do is be in a serious relationship again. And I really think Lawrence didn't take that into account when dating her, because when you watch the Friendsgiving scene, I feel like all of Condola's friends was low-key clowning Lawrence. Like, they were not taking Lawrence seriously as like a partner. Lawrence felt like a prop in that entire Friendsgiving. Like, even her friends are like bad and bougie. Like, they are bad and bougie people. They look like they got their stuff together. Like, Lawrence just sticks out. Like, in that friend group, Lawrence sticks out. I think Lawrence was doing his best to like be on his best behavior and to come off like a genuine guy. But that entire Friendsgiving scene was like, it was shot because he just looks like he doesn't belong there. Like, he just doesn't look like he fits in. And the one chick is like drunk off her ass. And I knew she was going to say some shit to him because the drunkest one always says some real shit at the party. The drunkest person at the party is always the one that's going to say some shit. So she and Lawrence, the drunk friend, are in the kitchen together, and she's like, I'm so happy you're here. Condola, you know, she really needs to like start dating so she can get over her ex-husband. And I'm just like, oh yeah, Lawrence, you're a fuck buddy. Like, you are a fuck buddy. And I think Lawrence and Condola can work on becoming serious, but it's very clear that Lawrence wants something more, and I just don't think Condola wants that right now. And to be honest with you, rightfully so, because I'm helping your ex-girlfriend of 5 years plan her dream, like, block party. I don't want to be with you. Like, I mean, not to say it like that, but we think a lot about how Issa feels and how Lawrence feels this situation. I don't think we really thought about how Condola felt. And I think we all put our expectations on Condola because she is so put together. She presents herself as someone that is on top of her shit, that she would be the superior mate for Lawrence. And it's like, we completely dismiss the fact that she's been divorced. But then again, this is the first time they're telling us like how long she's been divorced. We knew she was divorced since season 3. We just didn't know how long. So I don't know, kudos to the writers, okay? And I want to say too, I really like Issa and her brother's relationship, and they went to that Mexican restaurant and had like a Mexican Thanksgiving. This episode really made me want like margaritas. Did anyone notice that? Like the margaritas on the table looked really fucking good, and I'm just like, damn, I missed the bar. That entire scene, I kept thinking like, I miss like Margarita Tuesday. I miss Copacabana. I miss Tio Flores. Like I just miss, I miss drinking. Like I'm looking at their margaritas. I'm just like, I miss going out and getting margaritas. The margaritas look really fucking good. We also, when Issa and her brother, I forgot his name, I'm sorry. When Issa and her brother are having Thanksgiving, she vents to her brother about how she feels about Condola and Lawrence dating. When I say this was the realest shit ever, she talks about how Condola is pretty much getting all of Issa's hard work. Like she was with Lawrence when he had potential, and now he's everything that he always wanted to be, and Condola's going to reap the benefits of that. That is some real shit. I'm sorry. That is some real shit. And I feel like I've said that before about guys that I've dated where like I'm with them during the potential phase and I'm like having their back or whatever, and then it ends and some other girl reaps the hard work that I just put into this person. I thought that was very honest and very vulnerable feeling for her to have. Even though we know the audience that Lawrence don't really have all his shit together, you can't deny he's doing way better than what he was like 2 seasons ago. Like Lawrence was dead ass like a bum. Like he was dead ass like homeless. Like Lawrence really got his shit together. And even though I don't think he's necessarily the person for Condola, he is in a better place. And it's frustrating when you see the person that you were with be the best versions of themselves for someone else. So I think that's completely like, I think those emotions are valid, and I felt seen in that scene. Like I felt seen in that scene. So before I wrap it up, I want to talk about the final scene between Condola and Lawrence. So the Friendsgiving has concluded. Lawrence is in the kitchen cleaning up because he can't sit out there with the grown folks. And he confronts Condola about he confronts Condola about the status of their relationship. And Condola claps back like, I'm the one that should be worried about you being over your ex. Like y'all still kikiing and joking and shit. Like how do you think that makes me feel? I'm gonna pause right there because I have a little bit of an issue with that, because Condola seemed very concerned in episode 1 when she finds out that Lawrence is the ex of Issa. She seems genuinely like, whoa, should I take a step back? Like, what should I do? She seemed really concerned about that. And now we get to this episode and she's kind of throwing it in his face. Like, you didn't think about me. But it's revealed to us that Lawrence is pretty much just a fuck buddy. Like, this isn't even serious. I don't know. Like, I feel like a part of me is like, Condola, you can't be but so upset because your friend basically just told us that this is nothing serious. But maybe it's not because of Lawrence. I think I had this conversation with a close friend of mine that Condola was really hesitant about the relationship between her and Lawrence because she really likes Issa. I do think Condola and Issa have a really good thing going on, and I hope it blossoms into a friendship outside of Lawrence. Even though after this episode, I really just don't think Condola wants anything super duper serious right now with anyone, even if it is Lawrence, because she is working through her divorce. Like, she's only been divorced for 1.5 years. We don't know how long she was married to her ex-husband. So, yeah. And can't even talk. To top off this episode, Condola asks Lawrence, would you still be with Issa had she not cheated? As you all may know, if you're fans of the show, Issa and Lawrence were together for 5 years. She cheated on him with Daniel. Fine ass Daniel. Oh God, Daniel was so fine. Like, Daniel just looked really good. But anyway, she cheats on Lawrence with Daniel. Me personally, I think they could have worked on it. I really do. Whatever, but they're broken up. Before the episode ends, we got Lawrence scrolling through IG, looking at everybody's Thanksgiving stories. He stops on Issa's, and then he sends a reaction to her story. And then we see Issa replying to this reaction. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect in episode 3. I do believe Issa and Lawrence, I don't think they're going to get back together this season, but I do think they may sleep with each other this season. The chemistry is way too strong, and they're not good at hiding it. That's my thing. They're just not good at hiding that they get along well, and you can feel the remnants of their relationship in the room every time they are together on screen. So I don't know. This is my review of episode 3, Lowkey Thankful. What did you think about it? Did you enjoy it? Like I said, this is my favorite episode. It's the longest episode thus far. And it's the first episode where we get to really see a different side of Condola. And that's what I really enjoyed. I liked everything. I liked all the Condola scenes, actually. Even though her friends was mad shady. And one thing before I go, one of the actresses in the Friendsgiving scene at Condola's place, she was in one of the short films that was submitted to the film festival I used to work for. So it's really great when you see like independent actors like transform or transition into like mainstream actresses. So that's really awesome. She's been doing a lot of work. She was also on one of the Best Buy commercials. I remember her because the short film she was in was like really, really good. And I'm pretty sure it won an award from our festival. So yes, thank you guys so much for tuning into my review of episode 3, Lowkey Thankful, Insecure season 4. I'll be back next week, talk about episode 4. Peace.